So as I said, my name is Letizia, and then Alice is the person that isn't going to be able to be here today, but it's okay because she had already prepared all her slides, so you'll still get all the information you would have otherwise. Okay, so first of all, some general information about the Remind. So if you are webmasters and if you got elected webmaster in your webmasters for this year, you should definitely join the @TOWebs Remind, because you get a lot of updates about different deadlines, because as I'll show you, there's some awards you could win as a webmaster. And so just to get like a reminder when you have to submit stuff to get that award, it's definitely helpful. And so I guess since it's not that many people, I can maybe just ask, like, if you guys want to share, like, are you guys webmaster this year, or are you like hoping to learn about the position to run for next year? Are you guys able to unmute yourselves just to? Okay. Oh, okay. Yeah. So, yeah, a lot of this. Okay, great. So, if you're all webmasters this year, it's probably even better because this presentation has a lot of information about what you should be doing like right now. Okay. Once again, so the reason I'm presenting this forum in particular is that right now I'm a lieutenant governor, but last year I was a webmaster for my club, and so I learned a lot during that year. And then as lieutenant governor, some of the skills that I had as webmaster also like really helped with the lieutenant governor position. So I might talk a little bit about the lieutenant governor position too, in case someone is interested for next year. But yeah, so basically. We can start with the table of contents. So I'm going to go over the main duties you'll have as webmasters. And then one of these, one of the most important, is to build a website. And so I'll go over sort of some of the different ways you can do that, because there's different platforms and there's different kinds. And then after that, I'll go over the Distinguished Website Award criteria. And also there's a video made by the, there's someone else. So, welcome, another one person. Oh, okay. So she's joining. But I'll just wait a second. Okay. So for those who just joined, my name is Letizia, and this is sort of the Webmaster forum, and I'll go over some of the different duties that webmasters have, and then how to build a website, and then basically there will be a video from the tech producer, which is like the webmaster, but for all of Texas and Oklahoma. And so she'll let you know like what she's looking for when she grades the websites. And then we'll go over communication, so some ways to communicate with your clubs. And then some different platforms you could use to create graphics. And then, so after that, we'll go over the Distinguished Instagram Award criteria and so a rubric for that. And so for those of you who just joined, once again, okay, so there's a few more people. Actually, I'll just let everyone in. Okay. Okay, great. Sorry. For everyone who just joined, so my name is Letizia, and I'm just gonna keep going over some of your duties as webmasters and sort of the different things you should be doing this year, or if some of you aren't webmasters and you want to be webmasters next year, I'll also go over what you should be doing to prepare, maybe, or like the reasons why the webmaster position might be right for you. So, okay, so let's just jump into the main duties you'll have as webmaster. So basically, one of the most important things is that you'll be helping your clubs connect with other members or with your members online. And this is always important, of course, but this year, because it's harder to meet in person in some cases, it's generally even more important to sort of communicate with clubs through social media and through your website and through a lot of different, also through maybe online meetings. And so just depending on your club, it's going to be really important this year that you work towards helping your club connect with members, because otherwise there might not be a lot of opportunities to connect sort of in some of the ways that they might have before. Okay, so first we'll go over one-time responsibilities, which are just things you have to do once. Some of you may have already done them, but in case you haven't, they're just sort of your main priorities right now. And so first, you have to create a website. And this website has to contain a lot of all the helpful information that your club members might need if they sort of look for the website and if they need to find someone like if they need to find information about past meetings as well as future events. And then the next thing is to create a digital calendar. So to let people know what events your club will be doing, it's really important to have a digital calendar that allows them to sort of see the month ahead and see everything that's going to be happening that month. Then another one-time responsibility you have is to create social media accounts for your club, especially if it doesn't have them. And these can be a lot of different accounts. I would definitely suggest making an Instagram account because there's actually an award you can win for that. But really, any account, on any social media websites are okay. And you don't have to have feel obligated to have an account on every single social media platform you've ever seen. But just if you know that your members use a certain maybe Snapchat or Twitter or like any one platform, that is definitely a good idea to sort of have that to connect with them. Okay, and then next there's a spreadsheet you can make with your secretaries, and basically it would help you keep track of everyone's hours. And so basically, your main job is going to be to help set up the spreadsheet, and then the secretary is going to put hours in. But it's basically, it can be like an automated spreadsheet, which would mean that whenever you put in hours, it automatically adds them up and has like a totals column. And it's really helpful to have that for members who might want to know how many hours they have in total. And it's pretty simple to sort of learn how to do that. It's just because you can just there's formulas you can put into spreadsheets, and for this type of spreadsheet that you'll need to make, it's nothing too complicated. So everyone who's interested should definitely try to get that accomplished, and it's not too challenging. And then the next thing is it's really important to know your club's officer team early, because as I'll talk about throughout the presentation, you'll be communicating with all of them on a regular basis for different reasons. And finally, if your club is having online meetings, it might fall within sort of like the webmaster duties to pick a video conferencing platform to do that. So, for example, Zoom works really well, but depending on how large your club is or different things, if maybe your school is using a different one, that's okay too. But basically, because you're a webmaster, if there's technical issues during meeting, you might be asked to help out with that. So if you just make sure you're familiar with whatever platform you're using if your club is having online meetings. And also if your club is having in-person meetings, and there's a computer or a slideshow or something, and there's technical issues with that, then you can also help out with that part of the meeting. So really, these are sort of some main duties that you might have. And before we move on to, now that I've done the next slide, I'll sort of reintroduce myself really quick because I know that a lot of people have joined since I started.
Sí.
Okay, so did someone say something? Sorry. I guess it's okay. Like if someone has a question, it's probably easier to type it in the chat just because, and then I'll answer it at the end of the presentation. So basically, my name is Letizia Fazzini. I am a lieutenant governor, and I'm presenting the Webmasters Forum. I was supposed to present with one other person, so probably when you go to your next forum, there'll be 2 or 3 people there. But unfortunately, the 2 people that were supposed to present, one of them wasn't able to join because she had like a different event on this day. But she did record videos, so I'll show you those. So she's still gonna sort of talk about the different criteria that she's gonna use to grade your websites. And then another person, unfortunately, due to the recent Hurricane Delta, she does not have Wi-Fi right now, so she wasn't able to connect to this training. But it's okay because she had already done her slides. So I'm just gonna go over everything, everything you need to know as webmaster, really, from all your duties. To all the ways that you can get awards for the websites and Instagram pages you make. And also, I'll go over some of the sort of things you should get started on right now at the end, like some of the sort of your checklist for this month maybe. And okay, so now that I've gone over sort of the things you have to do once in your term, I'm gonna go over some things you should do regularly. So first, you should update your website with your club's newsletter. So this is going to be, this is why it's really important to communicate with officers, because the newsletter is made by the editor. And after the editor makes it, you just have to upload it to the website, because maybe, and also to social media pages, but depending on which social media accounts your members have, they might not be able to access it. So that's why it's good to have a website where you just add everything so that everyone can see it. Okay, and then afterward, you can, another important task is to make PowerPoints for your meetings. Depending on your club, this might be the responsibility of you as well as the president or someone else that might want to present some of their current projects they're planning. But if you're asked to make PowerPoints for club meetings, just sort of make sure you make them sort of using the standards that we'll talk about later for making graphics, such as the brand guide and some other guidelines, which I'll go over in a little bit. But next, it's important to add pictures to our website, because especially like to make a website look good without pictures, it is really, really hard, because it usually looks really boring. But as soon as you add pictures, you don't have to worry about like making everything perfect, because if a website has a lot of pictures, it already looks pretty good, I think. And then next, the calendar you've made, which could be like, you could put in like a calendar, like a Google Calendar or something similar to that. And then just make sure you update it on a regular basis. And this is a really easy thing to put in, because it's just meeting dates and events and things, and also district events that you can just find on the district website. And it's a really good way to make sure you keep updating your website, and your website is going to be checked for updates every month. So, if you don't have anything else to add, at least the newsletter and the calendar are really important to update. And then next, you should add some activities for service projects. So basically, if your club is offering hours for making cards, maybe for an organization, or for making care packages or anything like that, just make sure your members have a way to see that, maybe, especially if they're just joining and they just go see your website, they'll already have a list of all the different opportunities they have to get hours before they even join the Remind or other things you might use. Okay, and then next is share some posts about your club's events on social media, because the website is good, but it's hard to get people to keep returning to our website. But if you have a social media account and they follow it, since they might already be on social media just for fun, they might see it and be reminded of Key Club and things like that. And so that's why social media is really important, especially this year. And then afterwards, the last thing you should put on your website, there's some other requirements, but the last thing you should put on your website on a regular basis is just resources. So membership forms, and then maybe if your club requires some forms that you have to fill out to run for an officer position, those are definitely really good to put on the website. Okay, so how should you make a website? Well, there's different platforms. So the sort of two main kinds that I've split them into are the web-based ones, which are generally free, and a lot of them have paid alternatives or like options. They have like a free version and a paid version, but the free version works just fine for especially for Key Club purposes. But basically, all you need to do is make an account with these websites or with one of these platforms, and you generally get some really good templates of what you can use, like of what your website might look like, and then you just have to sort of put in your pictures and your information. And they require less experience generally, and so they're easier to do, and generally they're free. Some downsides might be that there might be advertisements that you have to put in, and they shouldn't be too big of a problem. Like if the only way to get a free website is to put some advertisements in, that's not necessarily a reason why you might not. You can still do that. You can add advertisements, but obviously, if you find a platform that doesn't include them, that's also great. But then, okay, and then another thing is that you might not have as much control over it because you're not sort of coding it from scratch. You're just using some of the layouts they might have. But still, you can make a really good website with these. So when I go on to the next type, I don't want you to feel like these aren't good options, because you can definitely get an award with either one. It's just a matter of like just working on it and just adding pictures to it and making it look good. And so, okay, so the software programs might actually cost a little bit of money, but not necessarily. But also, it might cost a little bit of money because some of them require to host your own website, which generally costs some it generally costs a little bit to like host your own server. But basically, it might be a little bit more difficult to learn them. But especially if you already have some experience with coding or with web hosting, they're definitely an option because they give you a lot of freedom over how your website looks and the layout, and literally everything you can change in any small detail just by changing the code. And then also you might be able to get a domain name. So that just means that your URL is going to be maybe like the name of your school, keyclub.com, instead of being like a really long URL that it's hard that like people can't really remember. But yeah, so you can still get a domain with some of the other platforms as well, some of the free ones. You just have to see. Generally, like you might have to pay a little bit of money for a domain. And the one good thing about the Webmaster position is that if you do have to pay for a domain, you generally pay yearly, but you only have to pay for 1 year. So it might cost a little bit of money, but once again, it's not required to spend any money on the website at all. So I just wanted to make that clear. And one more thing is just that for websites, there's basically 2 opportunities to get an award. One of them is the Instagram, and then the other one is the website. And if you feel like you're, you can definitely get both. But if you feel like you're a little bit stronger on either the website or the Instagram end, and you want to really focus on one of them, on whatever your strength is, that's also okay. Because there's actually 2 levels of awards. So you can definitely put a lot of effort into one and sort of win a really good award for that. And then if the other one you only get the lower type of award, that's not a problem at all. Like you don't have to feel like you have to make everything perfect, but as long as you put some effort into sort of building a good website and a good Instagram page and some good ways to communicate with your club, you should be okay. And it'll be really helpful, not just for the prizes, but to help your club grow and for members to keep participating. Okay, so first we'll go over the Distinguished Website Award. So here's sort of some of the criteria. And can everyone see the Google Doc now?
Yes, we can see it.
Okay, thank you. Great. And oh yeah, definitely. I in the comments, just in case, or in the chat, in case someone can see it. GitHub.io is definitely a good idea to host websites for free, especially because it's just that I can imagine. Even if you have a large club, you're not gonna have hundreds and hundreds of people joining your website every day. So yes, actually there are free options work really well too. So thank you, Ryan. And okay, so for the award, one of the most important things is to submit it by December 15th, because otherwise it won't be considered at all. So whenever you make it's not like it's submitted exactly, because you have to keep updating it even after you submit it. However, December 15th is a really important date to just write. If nothing else, just write down that date, because if you forget it, you're going to be disqualified for the awards. But basically, once you submit it, just make sure it has all of this information. And most of it is pretty easy to find. But if you can't find any of it, or you're not sure about what something means, you can ask your lieutenant governor from your division, and they can let you know any of this. So, for example, just your school name, region, and division. These should be pretty simple. But some of the other ones, maybe if you don't know who your sponsoring Kiwanis club is, you can again just ask your LCG or maybe your sponsor at school. And so so basically they can tell you about any of these that you might not know. And the trickiest part, I think, of this sort of checklist is the officers' contacts, because you have to make sure you put in all your officers, and that might take a little bit of time. If you ask them to get their contact information, it might take a few days for them to respond. So one of the things you should get started with early is definitely that. But it's not that hard to get your word. All you have to do is just make sure you fill out all these requirements, and then you put some effort into making your website look nice, and you update it constantly, or not constantly, but like once a month at least. And then after that, okay, another important thing is just to list your social media on the website, just because then if you do that, basically whenever members join, usually you have to share like a lot of information with them. Like you have to share them like a remind code, or maybe an Instagram page and a Google Classroom code, and like so many things. And so they might forget some of them. So definitely just if you make your website up like basically like a hub where if they go to that they can find everything else. That's going to be really helpful for all the members. Okay, so next, a requirement for the website is that it uses 3 Key Club International Brand Guide colors. So the brand guide is just a set of fonts and colors that you should use on most or on almost everything you make for Key Club. And the reason it exists is that thanks to the brand guide, everything that Key Clubbers make looks sort of similar. So whether you're sort of in your own club in Texas, Oklahoma, and you make like a brand guide with some font, or like you make a website with the brand guide colors, or maybe there's someone that lives in Canada in a totally different key club and they're also making their website, the two are going to look like they're from the same organization just because they use similar fonts and colors. But you still have a lot of creative freedom to sort of regarding how your website looks. It's just that the brand guides are a really good way to sort of unify the Key Club brand. And you can find that on the Key Club International website, and also I think in the Webmaster resources of the TO Key Club website, which I'll share with towards the end of the presentation. And then also you should use some Key Club International fonts because it's colors and fonts. That's what the brand guide is, and also some rules about the Key Club logo. But it's nothing too complicated. Okay, so then I'm not going to go over the rubric because that's what so the video is going to go over a little bit. But just one important thing to remember is just to keep updating the website after you submit it. So after December 15th, it's going to be checked once a month. So just update the calendar, add newsletters, add some pictures, and just make it so that members can find an updated version of the events that your club is planning. Okay, so now we have the video, and I think I need to share my audio, so just bear with me for a second. Okay, so we'll see if you can hear the video. Can you guys hear the video or not? It's okay if you can't. Oh, okay. Oh, okay, you can. So okay, I can adjust it. The thing is that it's sort of at a high speed, but I'll sort of raise the volume and then. Okay, great. So we'll see.
I'm sorry that I couldn't make it today. The Webmaster for us. However, I will be recording myself from some parts of this training. So first, I will talk about which website would like rubric for this. So most of the criteria on this rubric has been explained by Wikipedia. However,
So so how many? Okay, so some people can. Okay, so I think some people can hear the video and some can't. So I think I could just I may just like there's I think a setting I can change. But also when I uploaded. Oh okay. Oh okay, I see. I think I know what happened. I think it's that. Okay. I think I know how to. I just have to change the setting. So. So, is this any better? Sorry.
Website, most of these.
Oh, sorry. Okay.
Hey everybody, my name is Lydia, and I am your TP for the 2020-2021 school year. I'm sorry that I couldn't make it today to the Webmaster for us. However, I will be recording myself to explain some parts of the training.
Okay. So basically. Oh, it's okay. Oh, okay. So you can hear now. Okay. Yeah.
So first, I will talk about the distinguished website award rubric for this year. So most of the criteria listed on this rubric has been explained by Wikipedia. However, I just want to dive a little bit further and talk.
And I just want to say that when basically if someone can't exactly hear everything she's saying, most of the stuff that like the most important thing is just to look at the rubric and this like the different parts she's showing. But basically, whenever we upload this to the I think TOK Club YouTube, there will be you'll see this part as well. So in case you missed that, I'll make sure that you can see it later. And we'll see how it goes. And if there's something you didn't understand, you can ask and I'll explain it afterwards. Okay, I think I know what happened earlier. I think I muted myself so you could hear it better, but actually you couldn't hear it if I muted myself. So I won't do that now. Okay.
And this rubric has been explained by Wikipedia. However, I just want to dive a little bit further and talk about it a little bit more. So to get the distinguished part of the rubric, the scoring that level, I guess, your website must be educational and promotional, and you must have updates each month. So the Key Club school year starts on October 1st, so you want to make sure that starting in October, you begin to update your website monthly. So make sure to update it in October, November, December, January, February, March, April. And those months will count towards Distinguished Website Award. These, I believe it's 15 criteria you must have on your website. If I don't find any of these on there or just one missing, I will disqualify your website and it will not be treated. So make sure you have all this. It's really important. I would say they're really easy to have as well. If you have any questions about what belongs on the website, most of these hit what the website should contain. And most of the information here can also be found on the tokclub.com website or the district website. You must have creativity. So this means just don't use a template and not change anything and make it look super bare bones. You want to put some creativity into it. And there's no creativity there, that will be terrible. Next is user formatting. So make sure it's easy to use, meaning like the tabs make sense, they're concise, the information on there is easy to find. You must include the full handle of your social media emails. Please do not hyperlink it. Please write it out in its entirety, otherwise I will count on points. You must use the brand guide. So it says here at these have 2 Club International brand guide colors and 1 brand guide font, or you can use an alternative font which can be found on the Canva cheat sheet under editor resources. You say the font in there, that will work. Note on use of brand guide that I did not specify a percentage of the website that has to relate to the brand guide, meaning that you can use the brand guide colors, the international ones, for like a small part of your website if you're already creating another thing. Just make sure you incorporate it somehow. You must use the key club international brand guide colors. You are welcome to use the TO key club brand guide colors. That brand guide can be found under editor resources as well, I believe. However, this the use of the TO brand guide will not count towards this criteria. You must use international brand guide colors, and that can be found by just typing in key club international brand guide. And lastly, photos. You must have photos. So one of the criteria is to have a photo gallery. So right here, you must have a photo gallery, and each month you have to upload pictures in there. This can be pictures of meetings, service events, and these have to be uploaded to the photo gallery. You may use the same posts or the same pictures that you posted on your Instagram. However, just don't just link it to them. It has to be on the website where we can clearly see it and click through it. Like the carousel, I think, the photo carousel, where you kind of automatically moves to the next picture. So something like that is really important. And the way that you can separate these photo galleries is to separate it by month, or you can separate it by a specific event, so like meetings, a specific service project, etc. So as a producer, my job is to help you. So if you go to your website with the headline club website feedback, I will critique your website and give you some valuable feedback and information that you should or could include on your website to kind of upgrade the appearance and hopefully better your creative. And also to touch on something, when I grade or update each month, I just make sure that you change or that you actually add information to the website, and each month it will add up to 60 points. Each month it will start to add up to 60 points. So in October, if I see that you have updated the website, then you'll gain 5 points, and then in November you'll gain another 5 points, and these will add up to 100, hopefully by the end of the school year, if you max out all your points. And for the distinguished website award, you have to have at least, I believe it's 85 points to qualify as distinguished, and then I will also award the top 3 websites.
Okay, so I think I saw a question in the chat about the rubric and where you can find it. And on the TO Key Club website, you can, I'll go to it just to show you where you can find it. So just tokeyclub.com, and then you can just go to resources and then to Webmaster resources. And so here you can find all of the rubrics, all of the criteria, and you can find some other training videos because this is the first training of the year. And then also the keywords and the logos, because you have to include those in your website as well. So yeah, just if you need those resources, you can find them on at tokeyclub.com, just to Webmaster resources. And okay, so basically this, all right, so now we can move on to communication. So this is the part that I hadn't prepared, but I did go over it, and so I can still present this part. Basically, okay, so first, there's basically, oh, sorry, does anyone have a question? Okay. Okay, there's 3 main ways you communicate with your clubs, and also with some organizations in your community. So first, there's Remind, which like a lot of you are probably familiar with that. Another alternative would be maybe GroupMe or anything similar to that, which is basically something that allows you to send notifications to your club members, and mostly on their phones. So it means that you're probably going to see your updates as soon as you send them, and that's why it's really valuable. But if you have some longer updates or some more formal questions, you can you can basically just send them out through an email. Or also, if you want to contact some businesses and organizations in your community to do a service project with them, email is probably the most professional way to reach out to them. And then finally, social media. So it basically this, like Instagram is the sort of the main example that we have in Key Club, just because it gives you that like the opportunity to get an award. But really, for everyone, just social media is there's different platforms, but basically it's a great way to communicate with members because they'll sort of be able to see it even if they're not on the Key Club website itself. Okay, so some ways to create graphics. So by graphics, I mean everything from like flyers if you have to advertise an event, or PowerPoints, or posts on Instagram, like absolutely anything. You can use these 3 main ones. For example, like the one I've had the most experience with is Canva, and you may have heard that the tech producer mentioned that under editor resources, so back on the Key Club website, if you go to editor resources, there's the brand guide is found there. So in case you need it, and and you can find it here. There's that, and I think there's also graphics resources, and these can actually help you as well if you're sort of looking for some of the different ways that you could make graphics that use the brand guide, and also that include some of the Key Club elements like the logo and things like that. And okay, so really just the main criteria for graphics is just sort of just put some work into them, just make them, just make sure they look nice, but also you can include pictures in some of them, and it's just important to know that it's really useful to know how to make them, just because a lot of your different responsibilities are going to be a lot easier if you can quickly just make some graphic posters and other digital things like that. Okay, so now we'll go over the Distinguished Instagram Award. It's like the website, but it's actually a brand new award. Like this is the first year that it exists, and because having an Instagram is really important anyway to reach out to your clubs, I definitely do recommend everyone at least trying to get this award. It's not that difficult. You don't have to update it every day or anything. It's not super intense. Just like, I think it's like there's monthly updates for the Instagram as well, and so it's definitely achievable. So there's different elements to it. So first, there's some sort of information that you have to include that's similar to the website. So like your school name, region, division, and like there's like a list for the Instagram award as well. It's similar to the list for the website. But then the next thing you can do is to like the main way you can share stuff is with posts and stories, which go directly to your members. And so they're definitely really good ways to advertise any events you might host or fundraise or anything that's coming up in Key Club, as well as pictures from events that have already happened. And then formatting. One of the most important things that for your Instagram is to have like a uniform sort of set of types of graphics and things you make. So for example, whenever you're announcing a club meeting, if you always use a similar graphic to make it, like you use the same colors and fonts, not only is that gonna make your all your different posts look similar to those of other Key Clubbers because they're using the same brand guide, but also it's gonna look more professional. If someone scrolls through your Instagram page and sees all these different posts and they're all sort of similar, and they're all and sort of they all look like they've been formatted by the same person, and like it's not like just someone that's just thrown together. There are different styles every time. Although you can be creative. You don't have to. Not everything has to look exactly the same. But just keeping it professional and sort of keeping similar templates throughout your posts is really important. Okay, then brand guide. So once again, for the Instagram page, the criteria is 2 colors from the brand guide and 1 font. And so that's a really easy way to get points because, I mean, technically on computers, I think, I calculated it last night and there's over 60 million colors that you could choose from. And so just having like a shorter list on the brand guide is actually really helpful, so you don't like get lost just trying to pick the best one out of 60 million. And then the other thing is make sure you always check back on the rubric, just to make sure you included everything. And the bonus points is really important because I don't think I've talked about this yet, but both awards have basically, there's 2 awards you can get. So you can get a Distinguished Instagram or Website Award if you get 80 points on the rubric. But then the top 3 clubs that get the most points out of 100, those 3 are going to get an extra award. So if you're looking to be really competitive, especially like on Instagram, the reels, which are like short videos you can post, are a really good way to do that because you can easily get 5 bonus points, and that could really like put you over the edge compared to some other clubs that might have similar levels of points. And also, if you're like don't quite get to 80 points yet, 30 points, and you're like at 78, those 5 points can put you over the 80% to give you the award. Okay, so once again, here's the criteria. I'll just go over it really quickly because a lot of it is similar to the other one. So again, December 15th, you have to sort of give them a link or like your Instagram handle, like send it to the tech producer by that date, and then keep updating it after that. But that's definitely when you should submit it. And for the Instagram page, updating is even more important because the website, 90% of the work is going to be done when you make the general website, and then you just have to put in updates. But for the Instagram page, to make it sort of look good and to make members, see it throughout the year, you have to keep updating it more. And so, basically, there are some basic rules that you can go over later, but they're fairly easy to understand. It's really important to update at least once a month because that's how often it's checked for updates. And then, so the criteria is similar, but also she'll talk about the criteria again in the video. And so here are some information you have to put in. And so most of this is just the same as the website, but then these three are basically TO Key Club is the Texas Oklahoma Key Club Instagram, and then there's Key Club In, which is Key Club International. And finally, the third one is actually our sister, which is basically our sister districts, because Texas, Oklahoma, Kentucky, Tennessee, and the Carolinas are all represented by the same international trustee, which just sort of represents us on the international board. And so there's the trustee, actually, she's organized several events where you can meet other members from Kentucky, Tennessee, or the Carolinas. And so beyond including it in your Instagram bio, also just checking out that Instagram page is, I think, really worth it. And okay, and so each month, basically, the main criteria for the month is, first of all, you have to have 3 posts, out of which one has to be a graphic that advertises one of your events, and one has to be a picture from an event you took or a service project or anything like that. And then a story with 5 posts, and these posts can be anything. So sort of don't get scared about like the tend to post 5 things because they can be a lot of different things. It can be updates for upcoming events. It can be pictures from past events. It can be just reminders for like meetings. So if you have like just at least like a meeting a month, you already have something to post in your story. And then also, if you sort of need more ideas for what to put in that story, you can use posts from those 3 accounts and just share them with your members. Okay. So once again, it's really important to get officer contact information for the Instagram as well. And also the bonus points are really important. And sort of here is what I was talking about, that basically if you get an 80, you get the distinguished Instagram honors. And then if you are among the top 3, you get an additional award for that. So, so basically, so just definitely, I think everyone should work towards the 80 points. And then, by doing that, not only are you, putting yourself in a good position to get an award, but also your club is really going to benefit from having this way to communicate with members throughout the year. And so the rubric, she's going to go over the rubric now.
So now we're going to look at Instagram award rubric. What you want to have on your page, specifically in your profile, includes all 10 of these criteria. So if you don't have them, you'll be deducted by 2. So make sure that you have all of these on your page. But if you have any questions about them, you can ask me or ask some using our hours. Next is post content. So you must post at least one. At least one is information about an upcoming meeting, and there must be a graphic that can be featured for the post. You must also have an officer introduction graphic. So what I mean by this is you must have posts on your Instagram that includes your officer. So like you must have the officer headshot, officer graduation year, email, key information about that officer, and information about people. In order to the Distinguished Website Award, this award contest begins on October 1st as well. But you've already posted officer stuff before then, I will check that. But yeah, make sure you have any questions like that. Just let me know. But basically, this means like post stuff about the officers on there. Make sure their names are on there, the way of contacting them is on there, whether that's in the graphic or in the description. And the story content, so each month you have to create a different story highlight and have a spike story. So you include stuff that is focused on this criteria. Creativity really showcases many of the championship actions so far are very bland. Posts don't tie together and those lack a lot of creativity. So this will be kind of difficult for categories to fight for, but I believe that all of them make sure you maintain your fees, keep the same theme as you can for the graphics, the 3 graphics, but yeah, just make sure it looks uniform. Try not to mesh everything together and have this type of next is format and style. So make sure you use format and style. Next is posting schedule. So make sure you post something consistent each month. And next is the brand guide. So you must be setting two keep up international brand guide colors and one brand guide font if you're using graphics. So if each graphic, please use two keep up international brand guide colors and at least one brand guide font. Or you can find an alternative under Canvas under editor resources. Use the Canva Bible. So a new feature of Instagram is real content. So if you do use reels, so like using reels at least once each month, you will get 5 bonus points. So I have to see you post on reels on your keep up from Instagram. And so new features, this is why we're working on this one for it. So I know that creativity and what I found kind of some the same. Creativity kind of just takes into account one specific post, like one graphic or one picture. That will count as creativity, but formatting style works kind of like, does your Instagram page have a theme? Does it have a specific theme or a uniform theme? So make sure everything kind of looks the same and it ties it together, not have like colors splattered all over in different fonts, each graphic and stuff. So just try to make everything cohesive and tied together. You want to create a brand for Instagram that is very visually appealing. Similar to the website, if you want feedback on your club Instagram, please email me using the separate headline club Instagram feedback. I will in the future Instagram with valuable feedback, suggestions on what you can improve it, the visual appeal, something like that. You can kind of bolster the brand on the distinguished Instagram. And I think the same thing applies to the website. You will get the distinguished Instagram award if you accumulate at least 8,000 points. Okay, so here's your tools. Make sure to read through both the Distinguished Website Awards and the Distinguished Instagram Award criteria. If you haven't already made a website, make the website. Like I said, grading starts in October, so if you don't have it in October, you will automatically get deducted 5 points. So, coordinate with the secretary for hours and attendance spreadsheet that should be posted on your website. Gather name, officer position, graduation year, headshot, and email address is also a requirement from fellow officers who can an about us page for your website. And that is also one of the criteria that's necessary. If you don't have that criteria, you automatically qualify. Finally, if you've already created a website, email it to me so I can update it on the district website. So my email is right here. Make sure you use the criteria list to see what headline you should use to submit the distinguished website when you submit the distinguished Instagram. Otherwise, I won't accept it. I will email you back if you use the wrong header. So lastly, create a Gmail account if your club doesn't already have one, and I already said earlier to include the Instagram award criteria. And finally, start an Instagram for your club. Have already started. If you have already started Instagram and you're using quite the way that you want, or you haven't been using brand guide stuff, make sure to incorporate it in October. So I would say as soon as you can. I know it's already October by the time we're having this district conflict. However, just make sure you're incorporating these colors into your Instagram graphics and see what your fonts. So upcoming events, each Monday I have office hours from 9 to 10 p.m. So when people meet during my office hours and ask me questions, I can also give you live feedback about your club website or your Instagram. I also have a joint training with the Paper Train on Saturday, October 17th from 3 to 4 p.m. And this is about more about this stuff. So Instagram board, distinguished website board, and then I'm also going to discuss stuff about some types of key reporting and I think it's the topic of editor board. And now I know that Letizia and Alex did a really good job. Again, if you have questions, please feel free to ask me or ask Alex.
Okay, so
now we're going to look at the distinguished.
Sorry. Okay, so these are the slides to went over. In case it was sort of hard to see, maybe I'll just leave up this slide. So if you want to take a picture of it, just because it's sort of the main section I'm doing right now. And as she said, it's sort of really important to try to get your Instagram and website done by the end of this month, just so you can get update points for every month. And so like even if you're starting out, you should have like at least a couple weeks. So it should be possible. But I mean, if you can't, it's not that big. Like, don't just give up on it, because even if you start in November, you're not gonna lose that many points. So just try to get started as soon as you can, though. And basically, so that's the main stuff you have to do. I think also, basically, I think this PowerPoint will be posted online, so you'll be able to access it again if you have questions about a specific slide or something. But okay, so we're gonna wrap up in just a couple minutes. So just if you want to also take a picture of this in case it wasn't easy to see on the when the video was playing. And so, okay, so now I'll answer a few questions from the chat. So, for example, so when you have to update your website, I was asked if posting activities and meeting PowerPoints is enough. So basically, I think there are some criteria why you definitely should do that. I think that there are a couple of things you need to do on a monthly basis is add your newsletter, but definitely you needed 5 pictures each month. But they can be the same pictures that you use on the Instagram page. So just whenever if you post something on Instagram and it's a picture, just add it to the website as well, and you should get to the requirement. But yeah, so that's the main things. And then the rubric, once again, you can get it on the TOK Club website. There's a link to it in the chat. And then, okay, so then we'll be deducted if you're. Oh, okay. So basically, if you're still in the process of making a website, you won't be deducted points yet, at least. Okay, so basically, if you finish it by the end of October and you submit it by the end of October, then you get no points off. And there is that December 15th deadline, but ideally you should try to submit it by the end of this month so you can get update points for every month. So if you're as long as you finish it by this month and then you keep updating it, you can get full points. And then I think if you start next month, it will be 5 points off. So just try to get it done as soon as you can. But it's still October 10th, so you still have almost 3 weeks, I think, to get that done in case you haven't yet. Okay, so basically we should be done in about a minute, but then you can join your next forum. So